Hello and welcome back to Green Money Momentum, where we talk about market movements, making money, and money momentum. And well, investors, more specifically bullish investors, are not too happy with what the markets have returned for us this last week, as there really hasn't been a lot of money to be made, and the overall momentum has been in a downslide trajectory. And so the markets this last week saw a pretty mass sell-off, with most stocks and major indexes trailing down, as we see that 75% of the market has sold off. And this comes from the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that is sparked by inflation and then also the Trump tariffs. And so we did see the consumer confidence index come out the other day, and there was the index went down, signaling that the confidence in the economy is also going down. And so a lot of Americans are not happy with the prices that they are paying at the pump, at the grocery store, and just for everyday items. The fear also from the tariffs is that yesterday we did see that Trump had a press conference with the French president, and he did say that the tariffs on Canada and Mexico are going to be going forward as planned. And so these are expected to return on March 4th. And so a lot of individuals are feeling a lot of fear from those two things, from the inflation, from the tariffs, and then also I know that the sentiment around Elon Musk is also not the best as well. So I know a lot of individuals are freaking out about Elon Musk and what seems to be all the power that he is holding within the government. And so I've been seeing a lot of jokes lately about Elon Musk kind of being like the second president. So it's like you have President 1, which is Donald Trump, you have President 2, which is Elon Musk, and then somewhere off in the distance you have JD Vance. And I mean, this is understandable, as we have seen a lot of reform happening now that Elon Musk is in office. I use that loosely, in office, because he's not really a government official, but with him running the head of the Department of Government Efficiency, he now also has an office in the White House. And it seems like what he says goes, as he has been looking to cut out all the waste, fraud, abuse. And also what he is saying is influencing Trump. And a lot of federal employees are looking at losing their jobs. And so all that is causing all this fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I want to give my opinions on all that, but before I do, I want to say, as always, that this is not financial advice, and I always recommend doing your own due diligence before making any financial decisions. And I also want to say that the opinion that you are going to be receiving today is from a hyper bull. And so me personally, I am always bullish on the markets, and I have a very long-term perspective. And so I am investing right now, but for the future. I am investing for all of 2025 and beyond. And so with all that being said, let's take a little bit of a look at all the news and data and really see what's going on. And so first off, just talking about inflation, this seems to be what is hitting Americans the hardest this last week, is the inflation on eggs. And so we see over a trailing 12 months, so since last year at this time, eggs are now 50% higher than they were just a year ago. And this article makes me laugh. It says, when it comes to eggs, we eat them when prices are low. We eat them when prices are high. We like them boiled and poached, scrambled and over easy. Heck, we'll even dine on them pickled. We each consume on average 281 eggs a year, which is a lot of eggs. And so with the price of eggs going on, it seems like there is being a lot of attention on this. A lot of Americans are looking at this and they're freaking out. But what I encourage individuals to remember is that the price of everything rises over time. And so it's not just the price of eggs that is rising, but so is everything else. So gas has been rising, other food items have been rising, commodities have been rising. And then also on top of all of that, what the bears will miss sometimes is all the assets are rising as well. So despite the negativity and the little bit of a sell-off that we have seen in the markets this last week, the overall markets have been pushing up, and assets have been getting more expensive typically. And so right now there is a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the markets because of the price of eggs. And what's funny is I was just at the grocery store the other day, and the individual behind me was buying eggs. And what he said to me is, "Man, these eggs are so expensive." And I voted for him too, saying that he voted for Trump and that he expects inflation or prices to be down just because Trump is in office. But let's remember that inflation is a long-term problem. It has been going on forever. The government has been kicking the can down the road forever. So we had some artificially low interest rates forever. We saw a lot of money printing, and inflation didn't just start with Joe Biden, but like I say, it's been going on forever. So inflation was rising during Biden, rising during Trump's first term, during Barack Obama, and during Bush, and so on and so on. And so if we're going to look at prices and just isolate what that price is right now without thinking about everything that has happened, that is pretty unfair. As it's not just like because Trump gets into office that he can magically just turn down the prices of everything. So it's not like he gets in office and he has a knob that says price of eggs, turn that down, price of gas, turn that down. Prices are going to fluctuate and just rise over time naturally. That is bound to happen. And so what I encourage individuals to remember and investors to remember is that, yes, the price of eggs is going up right now, but so are the price of almost all assets. And this is where, as an investor, you could take this opportunity while the markets are down to catch some big dips, as overall the markets should have a flip sooner than later. As when we look at the fear and greed index, we could see that today we just pushed into the extreme fear territory. And so, as I always say, invest when others are fearful, and be fearful when others are greedy. And I also always encourage individuals to zoom out, because if we do look at the S&P for the last month, we could see that things have been pretty shaky. We have seen quite the sell-off. And if this is the only chart you're looking at, of course, it's going to look like the end of the world. This looks really bad, but let's zoom out and look at the big picture. All-time chart for the S&P, this thing is up massively. And so if we just look at the history of the S&P, every single time there's ever been a dip historically was a great time to buy. And if we're talking about stock market crashes or really big retractions, this, what we're seeing right now, isn't even near the level of massive dips that we have seen in the past. So times to be more fearful of a market crash would be like, for example, in 2022 when we saw a little bit of a dip, in 2020 when we saw the Great V recovery, in 2008 when there was the housing crisis. All those events sparked a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the market. And I argue that those events were worse than what we are seeing now. Yes, we are seeing some inflation. Yes, the Trump tariffs are putting a lot of individuals and folks into that category of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But I do believe that this is just a shakeout from the markets and that we will recover over time. And so me personally, I am very excited about this. I actually tend to get more excited when we see days like this sometimes than when we see really big green days, because I know when we see really big green days that there has to be that comeback down, which is what we are experiencing right now. And just like I say, I encourage investors to look at the long term. Let's remember that the market also rotates constantly. So it goes up, it goes down. The market goes from being overbought to oversold. And right now, I believe that we are in that oversold territory. There is a lot of great stocks and plays that were recently just hitting all-time highs, and now we're just on a fire sale. And so just think about some of the assets that people were buying at much higher prices weeks ago, and now where they're at now. Weeks ago, when they were feeling fear of missing out, they were wishing that the prices were what they are at now. So personally, I just see this as a buying opportunity, and I am very excited about everything that is going on. I think the markets will recover before we know it. And remember that this opinion, again, is coming from a hyper bull. So I am always bullish on the markets. I always have a long-term mindset on everything going on, and I think what we're facing right now is just a little bit of a shakeout. But I would be curious to hear what everyone else has to say in the comment section below. So please drop a comment, whether you're bullish or whether you're bearish on the markets. Please leave a like and please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Money talk. Here comes the money.